October 1998. A company from a frozen suburb of Helsinki has just become the best-selling phone maker on Earth. Within 2 years, 1 in every 3 phones sold anywhere is theirs. At its peak, this company is worth $250 billion. It pays a quarter of Finland's entire corporate tax bill. Its phones are in 1 billion pockets, indestructible, iconic. The name is practically a synonym for the mobile phone itself. 13 years later, the phone business is sold for parts, for less than the company once earned in a single quarter. This is how Nokia lost everything. To understand the collapse, you have to understand something strange. Nokia was never supposed to make phones. In 1865, a mining engineer named Frederick Idestam built a wood pulp mill on the banks of a river in southern Finland. The town around it was called Nokia. For a century, the company made paper, then rubber boots, tires, rain jackets, televisions. If Finland needed it, Nokia made it. In 1982, Nokia ships the Mobira Senator, a car phone the size of a suitcase. 5 years later, the Cityman, the first phone you could genuinely carry. In 1992, new chief executive Jorma Ollila makes the single best decision in the company's history. He sells everything, the paper, the rubber, the televisions, and bets the entire company on the mobile phone. The digital standard goes global, and Nokia rides it harder than anyone. By 1998, they overtake Motorola, #1 in the world. The 3210, the 3310, the 1100, the best-selling electronic devices in human history. The 1100 alone sells 250 million units. Snake becomes the most played video game on the planet. The ringtone becomes identity. A phone becomes fashion. By 2000, it is the 5th most valuable brand on Earth. Market share, 30%. Double its nearest rival. Espoo, Finland is, per capita, the center of the technological world. Here is the part they leave out of the museum. By the late 90s, Nokia's own engineers had built the future and filed it away. A touchscreen tablet, mobile internet. In 1996, 11 years before the iPhone, a Nokia prototype could browse the web with your finger. In 2004, the touchscreen Nokia 7700 is finished, reviewed, priced, and then shelved. Too expensive, too risky, too different from what was already selling. Management's logic was flawless and fatal. Why bet the company on the future when the present is printing money? January 9, 2007, San Francisco. Steve Jobs holds up a slab of glass, no keyboard, $600.
Phones, right? Motorola Q, the BlackBerry, Palm Treo, Nokia E62, the usual suspects.
In Espoo, the executive floor watches the stream and laughs. The iPhone fails every drop test Nokia has. The margins make no sense. One executive sums up the mood. It's a niche product. The market will correct. The market corrects, in the other direction. The real killer wasn't Apple, it was the org chart. 9 product lines, 3 operating systems, all fighting for the same engineers. Symbian, the software running every Nokia, needed 57 steps to approve a single feature. Engineers begged to rebuild it from scratch. The answer, year after year, not yet. Between 2007 and 2010, Nokia still sells more phones than anyone on Earth, and its share of the industry's profits collapses from 64% to 17%. In September 2010, Nokia does something it has never done in 145 years. It hires an outsider, Stephen Elop, a Canadian. He comes from Microsoft, and he is the first person from outside Finland ever to run the company. 5 months later, an internal memo leaks. In it, Elop describes a man asleep on a burning oil platform who wakes to find only one choice left: jump into the freezing North Sea or stay and burn. The platform, he tells the entire company, is Nokia. The memo was never meant to leave the building. Within a day, it was on every technology site on Earth. 3 days after the memo leaks, he announces the jump. Nokia will abandon its own software. Every phone it makes will run Windows. There is a rule in this industry, and it is named after a computer company that died of it. The Osborne effect. Announce that your current product is finished and people stop buying it, long before you have anything to sell them instead. Nokia announced the end of Symbian in February. The first Windows phone shipped in November. 9 months with nothing on the shelf but a phone its own chief executive had called a burning platform. Nokia's shares fell 14% on the day of the announcement. Within 2 years of the announcement, Nokia had lost more than 3/4 of its share price. Its share of the smartphone market went from 34% to 3%. And in Finland that year, the engineers shipped their own operating system anyway. The N9, reviewers called it the best phone Nokia had ever made. It was cancelled the month it went on sale. September the 2nd, 2013, Microsoft agrees to buy the entire phone business, €5.4 billion. 13 years earlier, this company had been worth $250 billion. The part that made the phones went for about 2% of that. Stephen Elop went back to Microsoft. His exit package was €18.8 million. 15 months after the deal closed, Microsoft wrote the entire thing off. $7.6 billion and 7,800 jobs. Microsoft kept the name on phones for another year and then stopped making them at all. The Nokia name disappeared from phones in 2015, 23 years after it went on the first one. Here is the part almost nobody knows. Nokia did not die. It sold the half of itself everyone could see. It kept the other half, the towers, the switches, the patents, the network underneath the phones. In 2016, it bought Alcatel-Lucent for €15.6 billion and became one of the 3 companies on Earth that can wire an entire country. Today, Nokia employs around 80,000 people. Almost none of them make phones. The name came back too. A Finnish startup licensed it, and phones with Nokia on the front went back on sale in 2017. Same 6 letters, different company behind them. Finland took the hit that a country takes when its largest company falls. Tens of thousands of jobs, a recession that lasted years. And then Nokia did something unusual. It paid for its own engineers to leave and start companies. Around 400 companies came out of it. One of them, Jolla, kept building the operating system Nokia had cancelled. So here is what the story is not. It is not that Nokia missed the smartphone. Nokia built the smartphone. It had the prototype, the patents, and the engineers 11 years early. It just could not get a decision through its own building fast enough for any of it to matter. The phone that beat them was not better engineered. It was better decided. It is tempting to end this with a villain, a chief executive who chose wrong, a memo that leaked. But the prototype was killed in 2004, 3 years before the iPhone, by people who were doing their jobs correctly. Every one of those decisions was signed off by someone who could show you the numbers. Nokia's own process asked 3 questions of any new product. What is the margin? What is the volume? What does it cannibalize? The touchscreen answered badly on all 3. Lower margin, unproven volume, and it ate the phones that were already paying for everything. By its own rules, the company made the right decision. Twice. That is the part that should frighten you. Nothing broke. The machine ran exactly as it was built to run, and it drove into a wall. If this were rare, it would be a story about Nokia. It is not rare. 1975, an engineer at Kodak builds the first digital camera. 8 pounds and 23 seconds in exposure. Management sees it and asks him not to talk about it. Kodak's engineer was told the digital camera was cute. That is the word in his own account of it. Cute. Kodak owned the patent. Kodak filed for bankruptcy in 2012. 2000, Netflix offers to sell itself to Blockbuster for $50 million. Blockbuster declines. 10 years later, Blockbuster is gone. 1973, Xerox builds a computer with windows, icons, and a mouse, but Xerox sells copiers, so Xerox sells copiers. In every case, the technology was not missed. It was inside the building, and it lost an argument to the thing that was already working. 3 companies, 3 decades, 1 shape. There is a name for this, the innovator's dilemma. The better a company is at its current business, the harder it is for that company to fund the thing that replaces it. Because every large company measures the same 3 things: revenue this quarter, margin this quarter, and risk to both. A new product is worse at all 3 by definition. It has no revenue yet, no margin yet, and it is nothing but risk. So the system is not broken when it says no. Saying no is the system working. The companies that survive are not the ones that see it coming. Almost everybody sees it coming. They are the ones that can act while acting is still expensive. Nokia saw it coming in 1996. It could not act until 2011. The cost of moving early is certain, and you pay it now. The cost of moving late is enormous, and somebody else pays it. There is a postscript, and it is not the one people expect. Nokia today is one of the largest network companies on Earth, around 80,000 people. Bell Labs belongs to it. It still earns money from every phone sold, not from making them, from the patents underneath them, around 1.5 billion euros a year. The company that lost the phone still gets paid for the phone. And in a laboratory in Espoo, the thing that started all of it is still there. A touchscreen tablet finished in 2004 that was never allowed to leave the building. It was not a technology problem, it never is. So this was never really a story about phones. It is a story about how long it takes an organization to believe something it already knows. Every company that gets killed by the future had it in a drawer first. The only question is how long it takes to get it out.